Hello everyone, Mrs. Heist here. Today we've got our notes on water quality and quantity. There we go, we'll make that a bit bigger. So we've been talking about watersheds on Monday and surface water quality yesterday. Another big impact on our watersheds is the quantity of clean water that's available. So taking into account the quality, it needs to be clean, as well as how much there is. It's important to remember that when we're talking about fresh water, only about 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water, and less than 1% of that is easily available for human use. When it comes to our water quality, we need to make sure our water is kept clean for both humans and the animals in our environment. And we know we talked about pollution yesterday. Pollution comes from a variety of sources. In our water pollution lab, we're going to be focusing on the industrial waste, the farm runoff, and then comparing that to an unpolluted source, and then one that has had treated wastewater to it. Wastewater in cities is going to be treated, meaning it's going to be cleaned in order to reduce reduce pollution and prevent spread of human diseases. Lots of human diseases can be carried through waste matter. There is a link to a video here from SAWS, our San Antonio water system, called After the Flush, that explains how SAWS treats our sewage here in San Antonio. On Schoology, there's going to be a discussion board called After the Flush. After you've watched the video, you need to make a post writing the 3 stages of wastewater treatment. So I recommend have that discussion board up in one tab, video in the other, so you can write the answers as the representative talks about those 3 stages. The other big issue then becomes water quantity. And here in San Antonio, water quantity is a much larger issue than water quality. We do a good job of keeping the Edwards Aquifer, which is our water source, rather clean, and cleaning up after our sewage with our wastewater treatment. Here in San Antonio, we are concerned with water quantity. Summertime, we have droughts, and the Edwards Aquifer, which is the main source of our water, is limited in capacity. Water quantity is a problem global-wide. We've got limited water resources. There's only so much water on this planet, especially when it comes to fresh water, and so water needs to be conserved. We should not just be using as much as we want, however we want. It's estimated by 2025, about 2/3 of the world's population will be living in water-stressed regions as a result of the use of water, the growth of human populations, and climate change. We need to remember with water, the water cycle going through being part of the surface water or the groundwater to the oceans, to the atmosphere as rainfall. That takes time. Getting from place to place takes time. And if water is being heavily used and heavily pumped out of one aquifer, it takes time for it to return. In San Antonio, we have the Edwards Aquifer Authority. This group manages the water supply for San Antonio. They monitor the aquifer conditions. So here we can see a chart. This is from last year, but looking at the water levels. With the Edwards Aquifer Authority, one of the things they do is they monitor the level. If it gets too low, they tell people, in particular SAWS, the San Antonio water system, to stop pumping water or to reduce the amount of water that's being removed from the Edwards Aquifer. And when SAWS is told to pump less, you get told, or your parents get told, to use less water. We go into water restrictions. Very common for us here in the summer to be assigned a stage of water restriction. They typically involve when you can water your lawns or wash your cars and use sprinkler systems. We use water in a wide variety of ways. In some ways or ways we don't even think of. There's those that are obvious, like using water to clean yourself, using water to drink, using water to wash your clothing. But then there's water that's sort of behind the scenes. The water that's used for producing food. How much water was put on that wheat field before it turned into a hamburger bun? How much water was given to that cow before it was slaughtered to become the meat on your hamburger? How much water was used to grow the lettuce and the tomatoes that go on your hamburger? There's also water involved with the production of clothing. If you're wearing cotton clothing, there was water needed to grow that cotton. Other synthetics, there's still water in the process of making that synthetic fiber. We use water with lots of industries, creating computers. All needs water. Moving our waste around. When we look at wastewater treatment, they're using water in that cleaning process. Water is essential for keeping us and the environment healthy. And as far as the environment is concerned, animals need water. They need a place to live. That's part of the reason why we have the EAA, is we only pump so much in order for there to be space for some endangered species living in the Edwards Aquifer. And we're going to be investigating this in the Investigating Water Consumption Lab and taking a closer look at our own personal water uses.